Raghuramji, you are muted. Kindly unmute.
Now can you hear me?
Yes.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Simplifying the discussion on Dharma, the Chandogya Upanishad puts Dharma has these three components: Dana, Daya, Dhamma. Of course, there's a story that built up how Brahmaji says that he gives only this letter Da. How do you understand it? Devatas and Danavas, they understand their own way, and out of which the Devatas understand it from the point of view of Dharma. And according to them, Dana, Daya, Dhamma, these are the things. Dana, we have seen the charity, and Dhamma is the discipline. This is another very important component, and that's what in Bhagavad Gita we see that Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tat paraha samyatendriyaha jnanam labdha param shantim achirena digacchati. When we are talking about Dharma, we said that when Tyaga came, Amritatva manushuhu, that means to say, whatever that Mrita quality is there, it goes beyond that. So that idea has been given in the case of the Tyaga. Now, the difference between the Dana and Tyaga I have given. Dana has, you give it to somebody who really uses it, who needs it, who makes use of that you give the Dana. But then Tyaga is that it is not focused on somebody, you just give it away. But giving away, also we have to understand one thing, material does not lose its value. Material is very valuable, material is very precious, material is very important. Only thing is that I don't need it. So this way, I have means basically, I used all those things, I know the value of it, but I have risen above that. And that one thing that rising above that is, whatever that has a value has also Mrita quality. That means that is birth and death quality is there in those things. And then Amritatva is that where it doesn't have a death quality. This is which does not have a death. That means that which does not even have a birth also. Whatever that is born will die. Jatasya dhruvo mrityuhu. And we said that. So this is what the Tyaga takes us to a totally different level. And that different level is the Amritatva. It looks like that. And when we see that even in the other value aspects of Dharma, when I'm saying, I said the idea of raising above the level of normal transaction. That's why when we say Dharma, whatever that is there, the idea of logic that is there and all that, and you rise above that level. Similarly, whatever that is supposed to be the ethics are there, and Rama has risen above that ethics level. So it looks like always you are trying to transcend beyond the normal human transaction. That's what is the part of Dharma. The same way, Satya, the truth, normal Satya that is there, but then what Rama followed or what the scriptures talked about, who followed the Satya at the Sankalpa level. That means if you go to a transcend to a level which is beyond the normal level. So it looks like everywhere this Dharma seems to be transcending. And even Dana also that you give it to somebody. But only thing is when it comes to Tyaga, it clearly talks about transcending in the form of, he says that Tyaga will take us to a higher level That's why Amrutatva Manusha, he says that. The same way, even Dhamma, that means suppose discipline, also is supposed to take it to a higher level. So this is what is the basic idea of Dhamma, which is supposed to be Indriya Nigraha. Indriya Nigraha is also, there are various terms that are used about that. One is the Indriya Nigraha, and the other thing is, he says that Samyama, Samyatendriyaha, Jitendriyaha, that means you conquered the sensory organs. One thing that we need to understand about this conquering the sensory organs is, you cannot conquer sensory organ from that level itself. That means to say, body has all these senses. And with one sense, you try to conquer the other sense, then it is not really conquering, it will come back. In fact, many times it comes back with all rebuttal, with a greater force, it will come back. Like, for example, you try to control, or it goes into the various other directions. Like, for example, hunger. Food is there, hunger is there, then you want to control it, and then you try to control it forcibly, then it manifests in so many other ways. In fact, that's why the mother says to the children, today try to avoid dad because he is on upavasa and he might flare up on you for any small, he becomes irritable for any reason. That means to say it manifests in some other direction. So therefore, basically at the sensory level, when you try to control it, it will not be there. Transcending that is what basically the idea of Jitendriya, conquering the Indriyas. That means I don't need it. Sensory organ is there. I don't need it. So this transcending is what is the spiritual content of the higher content of this particular control. In fact, we have seen in the story of Ramakrishna Vivekananda how beautifully that aspect of he shows that he was hungry. He was traveling in the train, and Belgaum station. He got down. There was a Marwadi who was there along with him, and that Marwadi asked Swamiji that you are getting down at Belgaum. Do you have anybody? He said, Swamiji said, I know I'm a Parivrajaka. I don't have anybody. I get down at Belgaum. But then what will you do about for food? He said, God will provide. That's what is the way that we go around. Oh, let me see how the God will provide to you. So, because he had the carrier of food, they both got down at the railway station and under the tree that he opened his carrier and he was eating. Swamiji was there. He didn't offer to Swamiji and only saying that you're also hungry, I know that, but then I'll see that how God will take care of you. And Swamiji was sitting, and then the description goes that Swamiji, even though he's hungry, because he traveled all the way from Bombay to Belgaum, so he must be hungry. And food is there, the other person is eating right in front of him. He said, my salivary glands also did not activate. That means I was so peaceful inside. But somehow, the providence has it. Somebody comes running to the railway station and says that, in my dream, I saw that there is some sannyasi sitting in the platform and hungry. Please come. I think it is you. Please come to our house for dinner, for lunch. He took him for lunch. So help comes from somewhere. But more important thing is that his sanyama, jitendriya quality is that. That means indriyas do not force. Many times what happens is that we want to see something, open our eyes and see, but I'm meditating, so I can't open my eyes. We force it. And this is not is actually controlling, because through the mind that you are trying to control it, one sensory organ to another controlling sensory organ. That's why Jitendriya, Sanjitendriya is beyond that. So that means to say you to a higher level so that you don't require the sensory organs activity at that point of time. You don't have that kind of a thing. So this is what is Sanjitendriya. Then what happens is that Indriyas give us the Shanti, normal peace. Like, for example, hunger is there, I give food, then it gives peace, Shanti. But when he says you get into the Samyatendriya, Jitendriya state, it is higher Shanti, Parama Shanti that he says. That means that Shanti does not belong to one particular sensory organ, but that belongs to a deeper inside perception. That's why he says that Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tat paraha sanyatendriyaha jnanam labdha Param Shanti. That means to say it is not ordinary Shanti, Shanti which is Parama Shanti, Param Shanti, Achirena Adhigachati. That means to say forever you are in that state. So that is what basically the idea of Sanjatendriya, Jitendriya. And now that Jitendriya, Sanjatendriya are discipline that we do, is it Samadhi? Yeah, we are just slowly heading towards that. So, but before that, we need to learn a lot of ideas behind it. The idea is that we also have this Sanyatendriya so much, Chitendriya, in all our dharmic activities. That's why it is called as Dharma. Like, for example, you do any activity in your house, any puja, say on the day when you do the puja, you should not eat breakfast, you should not do this, you should not do this, and these things. So, like that, that means to say any occasion is there, immediately the discipline, Dhamma, rising above the sensory organ is something which is all constantly suggested. It may be a very, very important function. I have gone to a function where it is supposed to be his own son's wedding, and he invited tons of people and feeding them lavish dishes and all those things. And he himself did not eat anything. Why you did not eat? He said that today it is Ekadashi, and Ekadashi day I don't eat anything. But at least you can take fruits and all that. He said, my vrata is that I don't even touch the fruit. He did not even touch anything. So this is what is the Sanyatendriya. And this is there in every religion. That's why I said in Christianity also they have. During the time of Easter, they are not supposed to eat meat. In a culture where the meat eating is something like 3 times a day, it is a regular routine food. If you don't eat meat, then and for one whole month, it's something which is real Indriya control. And I didn't know about this much, but once it so happened, some East European country, I went to one of the monasteries, and it's old original monastery there. And there were 2 nuns who were there. And we stayed in a room, myself and my friend, we stayed in that monastery, and they had provided us food. And as soon as we went, then they nicely arranged for us food and everything. And my friend, he knew the language, Romanian language. He said to them that my friend, that means me, Raghuram will not eat meat. Immediately the nun said that Easter is gone 2 days back. Now you can eat meat. Then only I came to know that people do not eat meat during the Easter. So Easter is over, now you can eat meat. She suggested. And my friend said, no, he doesn't eat meat. He never ate meat. Then she asked, for lifetime he never ate meat? With surprise and probably with a kind of respect and all that. And this friend of mine said, no, he never ate meat. His family never ate meat at all. Wow. The other nun, younger nun, she said, she must be really spiritual. See, the idea of spirituality is connected. Immediately, this older nun, she became very conscious. She said, no, there's no spirituality in that. Their culture is like that, they don't eat meat. I laughed. I said, what is the importance of that? But most importantly, at least during the Easter, they don't eat meat. So that's a wonderful signal. Similarly, in the case of Islam, they don't, during the time of Ramadan, whole day they don't eat food. They don't even take water. Not only water, they are not supposed to even take the saliva. They spit it out. What a rigorous discipline that they have about the food. In fact, that also I had a very beautiful experience. One of the very important Islamic places, saints, is Jalaluddin Rumi. And there are so many things I keep quoting about Rumi. And he is a Sufi saint, such a wonderful account he has given. And he hails from a place called as Konya. And in Konya, they have this Rumi University is there. So once I happened to, during the Ramadan time, they invited me for a talk in that Rumi University. While I was going to that university, everybody I met, score of them, they said in Istanbul, you are going to Konya, please don't even keep a water bottle in your hand. The moment they say that you have a water bottle, they will arrest you because you are drinking water. So strict. You should not even carry water bottle with you, and the whole day that you have to be without water. Only after the sunset you can have food. In a country where the sunset is around 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, and sun morning rise is 6 o'clock, that means after all, and in between you have to sleep also, and you have to cook the food and eat and sleep. So hardly you can take one food in a day, and the rest of the time you don't even take not only food, not even drink water. So this strict is the spirituality. That's why Dhamma, that means to say control, Indriya Nigraha, is very strictly followed. So therefore, when I went there, they strictly stopped me all those things. And the evening that they organized a iftar for me because I was there and all that, and then Mayor was also there. And I said, please don't ask me to come join the iftar because iftar means you eat meat regularly, and I'm a pure vegetarian. And they said that no, we have specially provided vegetarian food for you, therefore you can join us. So that means to say that Dhamma is even in the Islam. And Hinduism, when you come to, there are hundreds of different kind of things like that Dhamma. Look at the way that the moment that they take Diksha, in the case of Ayyappa, how much of discipline that they have. They don't wear slippers, they don't wear any other dress other than the black dress, and they don't shave. How many things are there in the form of a discipline at the time of, in the name of Dharma? And in our regular day-to-day life also, there are so many things which are in the form of Dharma. There are people who don't eat food on Friday because of some god, and Monday because of Shiva or something like that. Some god or the other will be there for us so that you don't eat food. So that means how many times you skip. And also they don't curse anything. And it is not because that somebody notices or anything like that. Even nobody notices it, you people follow it. That's why I said that the Dhamma is coming from, not from the sensory organ, but it is from a higher level. That higher level is what is supposed to be Dharma. I follow Dharma, therefore I don't eat. Similarly, every night we go to sleep, but when it comes to Shiva's name, they say Shivaratri, we don't sleep. What a wonderful self-control it is, discipline, Dhamma. So therefore, and these are all in the name of spirituality. Shraddha, it happens like that, that somebody dies in the house. Yes, you don't have previous night food. The morning breakfast, you cannot have it. And the day, actually, the rituals drag up to about 1, 2, 3 o'clock, and 3 o'clock only you can have food. In fact, many Orthodox people, they don't even have a cup of coffee in the morning. So that means to say how much of Dhamma is there in our culture. Every day, not only this particular discipline that we have, Indriya Nigraha Samyama, in Jain like following, there are much more deeper, rigorous kind of Samyama that is there. See, this is what they call it as vrata. They have so many vratas that they cannot eat this, they cannot eat that. You know, the vegetable or fruit that is grown under the soil, they cannot take it. They can only take something which is not only outside, whatever that is red in color, also they don't take it. See, so many disciplines are there. Take it as discipline, spiritual discipline. So everything is nothing but your sense control. In fact, there is another beautiful control that is there in Jain, and that was also one of the Jain ashrams. We went, three, four of us, my wife and we all went there, and we had discussions with the chief chief main person of that particular ashram. He was with us, and then very nicely we had discussions and all that. After discussion, they asked for the lunch. Then we were going for the lunch. While going for the lunch as a ritual, this main person who came out of the room, and then people were lined up in queue just to touch his feet. So he was standing there with the folded hands and then receiving their salutations. They were bowing down and touching his feet and all that. After all that is over, then we went inside, he sat down. After we sat down, they served the food. After serving the food, then this main Swamiji who was there, Jain Rishi was there, he just bowed in front of the food, just got up. He did not even touch. I was shocked. I said, he came all the way to have food, and the food is served, and we were all, he said, you all take it. And then he got up. I asked one of those monks who were there, said why he got up. Then he explained to me that he might have taken a anuvrata. Anuvrata means to say additional vrata that he would have taken. And that anuvrata he might have taken is that people who come to touch his feet, if anybody comes in the red dress, he will not take food that day. But he will not tell anybody. See that, so that if people will know that he will not touch the food when somebody is with the red dress, then they make sure that nobody comes with the red dress there. But then he wouldn't say that. But then somebody has touched his feet, therefore he came and did that. Probably how many times, how many days he might not have had food like that. Because and anuvrata should be something which is common. Like for example, you don't say that something which is very rare. Many people do that, they go to the Kashi and then you go up what you like. People give up Karela because I never eat Karela, therefore give up. It's not because of what you like it, you give it up. So it's not a rare thing. It's something which is, or I give up the durian fruit. Durian fruit in India, we don't even know that, what it is, like that. So this way, you don't do something which is unusual. It's something which is basically regularly that's available. You do that. This is what is anuvrata. How many things like that are there in our Hindu culture? Every step it is there like that. And every occasion we used to see that we have this Indra Nigraha, control over that. Like that, so many things that are there in our culture. So this is what is the part of Dharma. Essential part of Dharma is Dhamma, which is supposed to be Indra Nigraha, self-control. Wonderful. So these are the aspects by which that you can explain what Dharma is. But have we really answered the question? We have not yet answered that question because all this what we have discussed will raise to another important question. And that's what in one of the conferences where we were sitting, a person was next to me, he was a Muslim, and he said, they're all very nice people and all that. And he said, I came across a book where it is written by Archbishop, some Christian saint, and he has written a book as a postgraduate study level textbook for the theology, where he talked about eloquently about what is the Christianity, what are the benefits, what are the basic facts about Christianity, all that he said. Where he said they also have similar kind of discipline that they have, particularly their priest is not supposed to have, mm, you know, should not have any wealth, bank account and all that, they should not have it. So all these things are there. So he explained about all those things that there, Jesus Christ in the Bible said it, Christian said it, so therefore it is there. After all those things, in last chapter, he recollected in one of my classes where I was giving this particular teaching. One of the students is a young fellow. He got up and said, why should I follow these things, disciplines? Why should I not tell a lie? You tell me, why should I not tell a lie? And he asked this question, and why should I not have affair with many girls and all that? Why should I not? He said, no, you are supposed to follow the Jesus Christ. You're supposed to follow Bible. So Bible doesn't give you sanction. Jesus Christ. Then he said that just because Jesus said it, I should not follow it. I mean, I should not have freedom. I want to have my freedom. I would like to have, I would flirt with many girls. I would eat whatever that it is there. So what is the answer for that? Then the teacher, he confesses that the best answer I could give is because of Christianity, you are not supposed to do that. Jesus said you don't do it. Then Bible says, therefore, you don't do it. And the student immediately replied to me saying that you believe in Bible, you believe in Jesus Christ who was there 2000 years ago. I don't believe in Jesus Christ. I don't believe in Bible. Tell me why should I follow it? Then he said that I could not answer it. The best I could give is a reference of Bible, reference of this. They say, therefore, you follow it. The same thing about Islam also. Because it is given in Quran or because it is either in Hadith or it is in the case of Muhammad said it, therefore you have to follow it. But what is the reason why I should follow it? See, that question is not answered. Christianity couldn't answer, Islam couldn't answer, even Hinduism also. We get into the hard problem because people ask such questions and we don't have answer. The best answer we can say is the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita says, this says that says, Ramayana says, Rama followed. Then they say that Rama followed, you believe in Rama. I don't believe in Rama, so why should I follow? So therefore, this question is something which is a vital question that we need to face it. In fact, there is one very important incident that happened. I was in USA in one of the families, and they're very nice Orthodox and everything that was there. And evening, that 5 o'clock, the student comes back, the boy comes back from the school and says to mom, I'm hungry. Give me some food. And mom says, today is Santoshi Ma Day. So Santoshi Ma Day in the evening that we are doing fasting. So you cannot eat food. And then this fellow says, I'm hungry. I'm imagining, in American language that they have all this vocabulary. I'm dying. I am emaciated and I can't live for more than a couple of hours. And all those things, the boy is actually, blackmailing mother with all those emotions. And then crying, harpulating, rolling and all that. Mother says, no, today you are not supposed. And then she is angry also with him and said, every day you keep playing the ball. I have to drag you to come inside to eat something. Whereas today you come yourself and ask for the food. Why can't you just play for some time so that you just pass the whole day? And then later on in the evening that you can have something and then sleep. No, I want to have food right now. Now that lady, she said, Raghuramji, can you please advise him? I said, what? He wants to have food. I mean, after all, he wants to eat food. Why don't you give him food? Arey, you take his side. I thought you are a spiritual person. You help me. You support my argument. No, no, I'm supporting your argument. Poor fellow, little fellow, he wants food. As a mother, what is that which can give more satisfaction than feeding the child? So you feed the child. No, no, what will happen to the family? The whole family is following the Santoshima. What will happen to it? See, this is how, because of some God, because of something else that we do these particular rituals. Other than that, the very question itself is not answered. So this is what is basic question, that why should I follow Dharma? You are a Hindu, therefore you should follow Dharma. Many Hindus say that, okay, I'm not a Hindu. For at least for today, I'm not a Hindu, so let me do it. Let me follow it. We have no answer. Very similar questions are there even in the case of secular way. Like we have the students program, value-based education students program. That means basically we are trying to give the values for the students. The students do not have values. So one of the students got up and questioned our volunteers who go there for the reading. He said, why should I not copy? No, no, copying is bad. Exam. I said, no, tell me why it is bad. I should copy it. I can copy it. Because you see, you want marks. And how I get marks is my problem, not your problem. So I'll copy and get it. Now somebody will catch you. I see that nobody will catch me. Can I copy it? I would like to copy it. You permit me. No, no, you can't copy it because that's something wrong. What's wrong about it? See, you are worried about my marks. I get the marks, whatever. No, no, not only marks. We are worried about your knowledge also. You should know about the subject, therefore that you should not copy, you should learn the subject. He said, you only say that we study so many subjects and after that we go to the job. In job, all these subjects are not useful at all. How many subjects are useful for you when you entered into the job? Whatever that you studied, half of them, less than half of them are useful. So why should I not copy for those things where it is not useful? Like you asked me to do sociology, thisology, thatology and all those things where I don't need to, I don't use that when I become an engineer. I become a computer engineer, then I don't use all these things. So why should I not copy it? You see, what is the answer that you can give it to the child? It's as good as asking the question about the Christian, about the Dharma also. Dharma itself is big question. That's the reason why there are so many intellectuals, they leave Dharma. They go away from Dharma. In fact, that's the reason why in Islam, they don't want people to be educated. It's a very surprising thing. They don't want, in fact, the Islam's slogan itself is one of the mullahs was saying. The slogan is a very, their the Quran says that earth is flat and sun is one of these stars which is hanging there to give us the light and all that. Moon is another one which is hanging there. Earth is flat, earth is not. And the boy said, no, I studied in the school, earth is round, it goes around the sun. No, nothing goes around the sun. Sun is moving and then earth is there. That, yeah. Where did it is? It's said in the Quran. And the boy asked that, should I believe in Quran? Should I believe in my teacher says? And that too, when Chandrayaan happened, he said, moon, nobody can land on the moon. Moon is something which is there. And that's all. But landing took place. He said, no, don't believe in all those things. If you are a Muslim, don't believe in all that science says. You follow the Islam. In fact, the word that is said, it's a very beautiful thing. In Urdu, when we say that akal means intellect, nakal means copy. He said, Islam akal ka matlab nahi hai, nakal ka matlab hai. That means whatever the mullah says, you follow it. His words are written. Akal ka mazhab nahi hai, nakal ka mazhab hai. At least in Hinduism, we encourage questioning. We encourage so much of questioning. It can never stop. So therefore, that Hinduism is one thing because Sanatana Dharma allows you to question. And so much that we allow the question that we have an Upanishad by the name of Prashnopanishad. Prashna means question. Highest wisdom of knowledge, wisdom that we have book, and that's what is Upanishad. We have question as the Upanishad name, Prashna Upanishad, and there's another Upanishad, Kena Upanishad. Kena means from what? The very name itself is in the question form. You ask the question. We encourage the question. So this is what essentially that Hinduism is in the form of questioning. But unfortunately, like the way that Bible cannot answer, the Quran cannot answer, lot of our texts also, they do not answer these fundamental questions. In order to get the answer for these fundamental questions, you have to go to the Upanishads. Upanishad knowledge is that knowledge which will give us that kind of an approach towards that, what is the fundamental knowledge. But another thing is that Upanishad knowledge is so difficult. But what are these Upanishads? Why they have come? And what is this knowledge with all? And when is it coming up? All those things. In fact, the moment that you cannot question it, it becomes mystification. A lot of people mystified in even our scriptures also. So my idea is to see that we demystify all those things. It is just like the way that whatever that we can see in front of us, whatever we can experience, based on that is the knowledge. That's why our textbook, our knowledge book, which is supposed to be Shastra, it is given as Anubhavamiti Shastram. It is based on experience. It's not based on some speculation. There's no speculative knowledge. It's all experience. Whatever it is said in Hinduism, in some Sanatana Dharma, it's all based on experience. So when you look at that way, whether the experience may be today what we are seeing, or the experience must have been 10,000 years back, 20,000 years back, the same kind of people, what happened is that people are the same. The questions are the same. There was also at that time, 20,000 years ago, man was taking birth, man will also die. Today also man takes birth and he will also die. And he lives in between. He also gets married. He was also getting married. Only thing, whatever changed is the peripheral knowledge. That means earlier, man did not know about electricity. Today, we know about electricity. So this peripheral knowledge we have. In fact, I remember when we were children, we didn't have an electricity at home. We used to have the small little lamps. And we created such a wonderful life around that lamp. But then later on, electricity came. We didn't have the matchbox those days. So we had evolved so many things to see that how we can compensate. Later on, matchbox came. In fact, even if you see today, matchbox, it is written safety matches. Why that safety matches system? It's a very interesting story. Earlier, the matchbox was not safety. It was not safe. In fact, particularly, in a matchbox, there were about 20, 30 or 100 sticks are there, matchsticks are there, and the heads are together. When the 100 of them are there, it would catch fire. That's why even in our house, when first matchbox came into our house, we used to have a small little hole in the wall, and where we used to keep the matchbox. We do not keep everything because it might catch fire. So from that matchbox, when they have evolved, and that used to be red head matchboxes. Then the black head matchbox, which is supposed to be safety matchbox. That's why they are given the name as safety matchbox. So that's how the name has come. It's a very interesting story. And today we don't even use matchbox, we use a lighter, and we just without even lighter it starts on. So there's so many things. That means it's peripheral. The material world has changed. So we had recording of all the material world that was happening 10,000 years ago, that was happening 20,000 years ago, that was there 5,000 years ago. But at the same time, we had the knowledge also that was there from that time, which never changed. What is that knowledge which doesn't change? And that knowledge is how the birth takes place, where is from this creation comes. This is what is the fundamental questions. So that's why all this knowledge that was there from 10,000 years or more, some group of people, wise people, knowledgeable people, they wanted to put them together in the form of a record. And that record that they have created, group of them created, are the Vedas. In fact, the very name Veda means knowledge. Whatever that knowledge available in the society at that time, they have recorded it. So therefore, Vedas, in my view, are like the way somebody maintained the diary of whatever that knowledge that's available in front of them in that particular culture. So this culture had all that knowledge. There was so much of peripheral development also. There were core questions that were there. So that's why in Vedas itself that you can find out a beautiful idea about architecture and about the metallurgy, what various other things that were there, part of the peripheral knowledge. That means knowledge about the material, knowledge about this, knowledge about that. At that time itself, we divided about these 5 different elements. Prithvi, Apa, Tejo, Vayu, Akasha. All the description is there. In fact, in the very first mantra, the very first Upanishad itself talks about the fire, how the fire is something which has come up. So therefore, essentially, all that knowledge that was there, and these, so therefore that you can see that there is core knowledge and the peripheral knowledge. So this peripheral knowledge is supposed to be karma kanda. Peripheral because basically karma has all these utility of all those things. Like for example, I have to burn a fire for yajna or something like that. I have to, for cooking also, I have to have a fire. So therefore, there's something knowledge about how to create a fire and everything that is there in the peripheral knowledge. But what is the core knowledge? That's what is the Upanishad. So both these things are there, which is called as karma kanda is the peripheral knowledge, jnana kanda is the core knowledge. And the whole thing was in this particular culture. So in all the 4 Vedas, you can come across karma kanda and also jnana kanda. This is the major division between these. Not only in the Vedas, but as you go to any place, you can see that there is a core of this particular culture anywhere in the world. This is what Swami Vivekananda said so beautifully. And somebody asked him at the Parliament of Religions after that, you are talking about a culture which is much before all these cultures existed. And they have gone into the dust now. There is no Babylonian culture. There is no Mesopotamian culture, which was there at one point of time. Such great cultures, Roman culture. Now, where is it? Ephesus has got, in fact, in my travels, when I went to Ephesus, when I saw that Ephesus ruins, even I had tears in my eyes because that I used to respect that place so much when I learned about the Roman culture, about aspect of it. And that is the kind of thing. It's all gone down. Now there is nothing like that. So even much before this Roman culture was there, our culture was there. But then it is still vibrant. So that is what Vivekananda said. I am bringing the message from the most ancient culture of the mankind to the most recent country. That's what is America. So why did you say that most ancient culture? What is that because of which it survived? Then Vivekananda asked was very, very pointed question, replied, and Vivekananda's reply is always extraordinary. He said every culture has a Naru current. So beautiful. And that Naru current is responsible for how long that culture survives. And that Naru current is something which goes across the time, then that culture survives. But if the Naru current does not go across the time, then it will not survive. But he did not go into all those details. He was very epitomized, saying every every culture has a Naru current, and our Naru current is spirituality. That's what Swamiji said. And because of that, this culture survived. Then I was thinking about what Swamiji said, how true that what he said. Even today, when you look at it, there is so much of information about what Swamiji said. Like look at the culture in France and Italy and all that. The nerve current of that culture is the beauty, is the fashion show, is the material. See, that's what is their nerve current. Similarly, when you go to Germany, the nerve current of that essence, basic core of that particular culture is sturdiness. That's why you see German machines so sturdy, and German cars are so sturdy. Roads are so extraordinary. That's why they have autobahn. That means no upper speed limit. You take your Suzuki there, finish, it will fly off the road. So it's only German car which can stand there. Similarly, when you go to England, the nerve current of England is supposed to be the royalty, regality. That's why everything in the name of regality. Trafalgar Square, Buckingham Palace, and then Queen's stop, and Her Majesty's, His Majesty's Postal Service, everything in the name of spirit, in the name of, and the amount of respect they give for the regality is so much that the king is getting married. That means the prince is getting married. Oh, it's a national festival. India, it can never happen like that. They respect that. So because that, it's a wonderful thing that they have that respect for that queen culture, for that regality. Similarly, when you go to Japan, miniature is the Japan culture. You look at the Japan, it's so small place. Roads are small, vehicles are small, but equally efficient. Many times it is much more efficient than America. They manage it. That miniature is their culture. That's why people are also short. And they have selected the shortest person, their king is the shortest person. And he also could find out a bride shorter than him. See, and you have a huge mango tree, they have a bonsai mango tree. It's a small little. So everything is small there. Small is the miniature is the culture of Japan. America, when you go, America has the culture of money, trade, business. That's what is their culture. In fact, you go to any city in the culture that they have, any city, they have what is called as skyline in every city. And you can see that, Chicago skyline, Houston skyline, and all that. And the skyline is nothing but these tall buildings that are there. And when you look at all these tall buildings in the downtown, they're either bank buildings or the insurance buildings. And these two are the businesses which will thrive on money. And another very interesting fact about these things here, these two businesses, that is bank industry and the insurance industry, they don't produce any money. They play with your money, but they are the most prosperous fellows. Wow. They know how to play with money. That's why the core of American culture is about the richness. In fact, earlier I used to go around, I tell everywhere about yoga. I never knew. Only when I went to America, they thought, oh, it's a $2 billion business. Huh? It's a business? I was always thinking that yoga is a spirituality. But that's first time that I heard in America, it's a $2 billion business because that's what is the core. So like that, everywhere the core of the culture is like that. And based on that, the culture is developing. In Hinduism, when you come to core of the culture is spirituality. And that knowledge of that spirituality, that's why you can see that everywhere temples are there, everywhere gods are there, every name is like that. In fact, that's another very interesting thing that you can see that many times I go to, every time I go to American cities, they have the same roads, that is, what is that, Chestnut Street, this nut street, and the Ash Grove, and all that thing. They don't have any big names, whereas we have such wonderful names. Ganesha itself has 1,000 names. Rama has 1,000 names. Devi has 1,000 names, and we use it everywhere. See, it's not that we don't have any reservations on that. In Devi, like for example, I have come across recently on the Pattabhi Rama liquor shop. Rama has nothing to do with liquor, but then anyway, it's okay, fine. It shows about the culture. That's what we have. Liquor is not the culture. Rama is our culture. Such an extraordinary thing about this. The culture of this organization is spirituality. And what is the basis of this spirituality? The core of the spirituality is Upanishad. That's why Upanishad, the whole culture survives because of the Upanishad or works for the Upanishad. You see, everybody works for that core. Like, for example, somebody goes to Prashanti or Yes Vyasa University campus, then you go there. Yes, there also you can find peripheral activity, building constructions going on, the cement truck comes and all that, and then milk van comes, and then food material comes. So all those things happen, and there is a accounts office is there, which is going on. So everything is there, but these are all peripheral activities. But what is the core activity of that particular place is yoga. We have yoga courses, yoga classes, yoga this thing, and all the buildings that are there is for the sake of yoga. This is one Ayurveda building, which is supposed to be talking about yoga, and naturopathy is yoga. So therefore, that yoga is the core of that culture, of that particular place. I'm saying the core of that particular place, not individual, because individual may have, maybe in Prashanti, but his core may be something different. Like somebody, he was staying in Prashanti for about a month or 2 months for some course. I met him in Germany along with his friends, and he was saying that Prashanti is such a wonderful place, you should go and stay there and all that. So I casually, one of his friends asked, what is the best thing that you like in Prashanti? He said, masala dosa is very good. I was thinking that Prashanti is not known for masala dosa. It is, yoga is the core. So for an individual, it may be different. But for the place, it's a culture is this. Similarly, here in India, there are so many things that are going on. So many languages have come, so many types of people have come, so many ways of dressing up comes, and all those things that you can see. All this variety is there. But the core is one thing, and that's what is spirituality. The gods may be different, hundreds of gods. Many times you go to the temple. After going to the temple, you ask, what is the temple God? What's the God here residing in this temple? But then we just offer our prayers for that, respects for that. So the core of this culture is Upanishad. And the name of Upanishad also comes very nicely. And now that gives us an answer for this. Upanishad is that it's like the way that when they follow various things like that, suddenly they come up with this question, eternal questions that are there. Why this life? What's the purpose of this life? Nowhere else in the world that they have questioned about the purpose of life. Only in our culture that we question what is the purpose of life. Similarly, in this culture, that this question, how the death takes place, how the birth takes place. And these are eternal questions. Scientists are researching towards that particular questions, answer for this question. They're important questions. So these are the questions in the Upanishad they ask. And that's why Upanishads are in the form of only few students will have these questions. So therefore, that these question answers in the form of a dialogue that takes place between the student and teacher. They sit together, the questioning takes place, question answer dialogue takes place. That's why it is called as Upanishad. Upa means close, proximity. Ni, Nishchayena. Sat, that means to say you are talking about something which is of a higher knowledge. And there's only very few people have these questions. That's why it is like a pyramid picture. The pyramid picture is the broad base. And then as it comes up, it becomes narrower and narrower. That's what is the picture of Himalaya also. So the broad base that is created by all these temples, all these gurus, all these cultural activities, all those things will give us the broad base. And as it comes up, few people go to higher and higher level. This is what Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita also. Manushyanam sahasreshu kasyit yatata siddhaye. Thousands of people are there. But they start thinking of only spirituality, very few of them. Kaschit yatataamapi siddhanam kaschin mam vedmi tatvata. Only few people come up. But then this whole culture works for that. And that one particular thing that is there deep inside is this way, Upanishads. Upanishads give all the answers. But then also, not just question, you get an answer for that, but it must be much more deeper. As I said, it has to go to a higher level. As I said, Dharma is something which transcends, and the question has to transcend. Normal questions are ordinary questions. Like, for example, when does the sunrise happen? When does the sunset happen? Which is the north, which is the south? These are ordinary questions, local questions. Or what kind of variety of mango tree that is there? It's all local questions. Fundamental questions are where from this creation comes. It's fundamental. So only few people, they're caught up with these questions. The question becomes so serious for them. Like, for example, death we come across all the time. And when we see somebody dying, at that time, immediately we have this question, what happens after death? Especially when we go to the crematorium to push the body into the fire there. At that time, often this question comes up. What happens after death? I mean, this question comes in two ways. One way the question comes is, after he dies, what happens to the property that he has? That's not a fundamental question. Fundamental question is, what happened to the person? The soul exists? The soul not exist? Is it finished? Over? Gone? Because the person was so near to me, so close to me, until a day back. But now today, the person is not there. It's a total void. Void means it doesn't exist anymore. See, all these questions are there. But then we are not very and these questions are fundamental questions because one way or the other you answer it, the question still lingers on. Somebody comes and says that, look, somebody died. So they say that soul survives. You mean to say that soul survives? They ask me. No, soul doesn't survive. Everything is gone. The moment that you pushed everything into the fire, everything is burnt. Summum bonum, it is like select all, delete, finish, over. Now nothing remains. But that person will go to another person, will say, like Raghuram says that nothing remains. But do you think that soul remains? Do you also believe that soul also is not there? You see, that means basically the question will not die. So these are called as the eternal questions. It's answered several times, being answered by several people. In spite of it, the question will not die. Because every time you have to find out an answer for yourself. But then you have to be serious about that. There were some people who are very serious about these questions. They have their pursuit of these questions is what the Upanishad knowledge is all about. Like, for example, everybody sees death happening. And everybody has a question, what happens after death? And the same way, Siddhartha also saw a dead body be people carrying it. And he said, what happened to this person? He said, the person is no more. He didn't even understand that there is death happens. Oh, death happens to everybody. You also die, you also die. This is what Chinna, his friend, said. I mean, dad also dies? Yeah, dad also dies. Your wife also dies. Let's go back home. Because Buddha was, Siddhartha was confused. And his name itself is Siddhartha. That means to say he has to find an answer, artha behind it. So he goes back home. And when he goes back home, his father comes in front of him. Shuddhodana, he says. Chinna says that everybody will die. His wife comes, everybody will. Yeah, we all die one day or the other, but anyway, let's have food now. Hurry. That means this question is not serious for you. And that question was so serious for Buddha, Siddhartha, that night. He said, I just leave the palace and go out. Chinna says to Siddhartha, saying that people would actually do tapas to take birth in these palaces. And that too, he was the king of Vihara, that is today's Bihar. I mean, not today's Bihar. Those days, Bihar was the most prosperous place in the world. And there he was a king and he is the prince. People would die to take birth in this, and you are born here. No. And he went away from there all the way to Bodh Gaya, sat down under the tree, meditated for 7 years, came back. So that means this question, what happens after it is so serious for it. These questions are such potential questions where it can become an ordinary Siddhartha into a Gautama Buddha. That's extraordinary. So these are the questions, these are the type of the questions Upanishad takes up. Only the Upanishad knowledge will give us the answer for these questions that we have. So that means to say, even the simple practice of Dharma that we are doing are equally connected with all these thread of knowledge that we have right from the Upanishad down. That's the reason why we give so much of respect for spiritual people in this land. Swamiji, saints, because these are the people who are custodians of this particular knowledge. So that's why how this question is taken up, how the question is answered, what are more things about this Upanishad. I would like to go into elaboration about all our knowledge that we have. In fact, so much knowledge that this culture has. And that's what is the base of spiritual knowledge, is the base of this culture, because of that we survive. So I will give the details about that in the next classes and try to give an answer so that we'll see that why we follow Dharma. We have seen what is Dharma. Now we say why Dharma is the next question we'll take up. We'll stop it here. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Any questions? Anyone?
Yeah, any questions, anybody? You can unmute. Ask. Somebody ask. Thank you, sir.
Raghuramji, again unmute. Kindly unmute, please. Raghuramji, can you please unmute? Yeah, now try, please. Now you can try.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So essentially, there are two things about this knowledge. One is the knowledge itself is something which is intellectually known. Second thing is anubhava. So this Upanishad will give both these things. It is called anubhava, that practice that we do is what is called a prakriya. That's what is yoga prakriya. Yoga is also like that. So the highest state of experience that we have about this knowledge, and there it is samadhi comes into the picture. So samadhi, actually, what you asked about earlier question, that what is samadhi? That's what is the highest truth that we reach. That's where the samadhi gives us answers for all these things. So I'll give you the steps how we can go into that. Patanjali has given us very beautifully the ideas about that.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.